let me try and get this into something that will appeal to everybody.
Can't do that.
When you get downrange.
Okay. He said, what happened is, at this point, you appeared and then disappeared for a matter of seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds. It just, the craft was there. And this was on camera. There was an 8mm camera filming it, and the film is still somewhere around. Somebody told me a couple of years ago they'd seen it. And then it just disappeared and came back within 3 to 5 seconds. Downrange, he said, you probably experience a time slot related to about 10 or 15 minutes, because you got out of the craft, you went down and you collected all these things, and you got back on board and came back. And we said, well, that couldn't have happened. He says, no, your brain will take years, if ever, to accept it. He says, some of you will start accepting it and you'll start remembering. And now I've got almost total recall on what happened. But
how did he explain the time difference between what he said the craft only took 5 seconds, but when you arrived at that place, you spent about 15 minutes. Did he explain that?
We ran out of time.
huh?
We ran out of time.
Their time is a measurement. That's all it is. And we shorten it or expand it according to our consciousness. I mean, I've seen carpenters. One will measure something one way and another one will measure another, and both of them will say they're right. And actually, they're looking at the same object. So it's just a measurement. And when you go outside that concept, when you go outside of the idea of time and space, there is no time, or all of it is time. It doesn't matter how you look at it. It just is, everything is already, just as it is. So when our brain would start kicking in and starting to realize what Carr was saying, that it would eventually come back to you, we equated it to, well, yeah, that took us time going down the ramp, took us time to minutes to do that in our consciousness. Like, yeah, well, that took a few minutes to do that. I couldn't have done it in 3 seconds. So anyhow, that's a difference in our conception and the reality.
After this trip to Hawaii, where you realized you were there and you could remember flying, have you had anything come back to you in terms of how that occurred? Any memories of how you got there?
Yes. There I go again. My consciousness, my awareness of my consciousness, of who and what I am, is already everywhere I want it to be. And all I have to do is focus on that. And when I focus on that, and not strong enough using force, but it's using balance. When I come into balance with myself, with my essence of who I am, and where I want to be, it just happens, and I'm there.
Have you done it other times?
Oh yeah. And Marcia and I, could you tell them about the lychee, maybe?
Wait, Ralph, can we go back to the spaceship?
No, sure.
Sticks in the stone. Is there any other proof aside from the sticks and the stones that you actually went from
Well-
that place to that place?
Didn't you say there was a video?
Yeah, there's a video, an 8mm video. I've been trying to get it for years. It's rumored that it exists. I've never seen the video, but
I met a guy when I first moved here who a friend of mine was talking with a guy who was into antique radios. They got into Nikola Tesla and then that. Then they mentioned Otis Carr, one of the gentlemen with radios, and he told my friend, because they said, you know about Otis Carr? I said, no, but this guy I'm staying with, me, had mentioned Otis Carr and you. Anyway, this guy had seen a video of them doing this. And I had never met the guy, but he's part of the Marin Radio Operators Club, ham radio club. But anyway, that was somebody that's...
there's been several reports. In fact, I have it in my files on internet after the Project Camelot thing was put on the air. Police officers from Apple Valley sent me an email and said, you know, we were out on patrol that night, and it's documented in our records, and we think we saw you guys. This blue craft came down and set down, and did you have jumpsuits on? And we said, yeah, he's white. And I said, no, they were tan. But he says, yeah, we saw you guys. You were only there a few seconds and you left. And I said, well, okay, thank you for the vote of confidence, at least, you know, that's so. And there's been other people that have witnessed some of the stuff that we did.
When I first, I used to have meetings in my home and invited to come and share the story. And my mom and dad were at my home at that time, and Ralph shared his story. And my mom said, oh, yeah, I remember there was an article come out in the San Bernardino Sun about him one time. So I never ever doubted his story, never, because my mom had seen it. We lived in Barstow, which is about 30 miles from Apple Valley.
We were giving a talk at the Tesla conference up in Salt Lake City, Marcia and I, and a lady came up to us, and you don't remember her name or anything. She said when she was 8 years old, she was invited by Otis Carr. No, her father was invited by Otis Carr to bring her, his daughter, aboard the same craft that I was on, the 45-foot craft. She says, I went in there, I saw the craft, I saw everything in that. I know I was there when I was 8 years old. And we never got her name, but
The next day, she came back to the conference, and she brought a picture, a newspaper article, and she thought maybe Ralph would actually remember her father, which I don't think he did, but it was a picture of her and her father on the craft.
on the space trip.
And where is the craft now?
It's in, okay. I gave a talk at Yavapai College on alternative building. When I built an underground house in a replica of the craft, 45-foot diameter craft in Chino Valley in Prescott, Arizona. And I gave a talk at Yavapai College on how you can build a house that's worth $150,000 or more, and this was in the 80s, for $5,000. And that's what my talk was on, how we built this house to do that. After the lecture and after the talk, this professor said, come to my lecture tomorrow night or something. I'm giving a talk here. I think it's something you'll be interested in. And I went to the lecture. He's a PhD. I don't remember his name. But due to the Freedom of Information Act, he was allowed to go to Los Alamos. He was a scientist. And he was allowed to go down on different levels. And he saw our craft, OTCX-1, on level 9 underground at Los Alamos. And that, to this day, as far as I know, is where it is.
Where are the other two prototypes?
Huh?
Where are the other two prototypes?
Where are your other photos? They were all confiscated, right?
All our materials and everything in those days were confiscated. In those days we had moving parts. We had 2 moving parts, counter-rotating wheels, and that model has been obsolete for 50 years. The models that we now want to introduce to people through waking up to seeing them there's no moving parts. With the advent of, if you want to call it digital and solid-state computers and understanding of magnetism, they're ready to be introduced right now. But we collectively have to introduce them to ourselves. We have to accept there are realities beyond what we think. And they'll be here tomorrow. And I promise you that. Because it's what our belief system has us locked in this box. of disbelief, of doubts, of fears that keeps us from not seeing or realizing where we are and what's going on.
Well, while we're on the Tesla subject, can I share an insight that I had recently with regard to time? Is that ball behind you is a Tesla coil, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically? Right. So I think that time, the way we've been looking at time, has been a cross-section of the way we're supposed to look at it. And it's actually a sphere.
Okay, good.
In that, using the 3 coordinates, which we don't know how to read exactly yet, you have the little hand and the big hand, and you have the second hand. And using a spherical coordinate system, there are an infinite number of possibilities that are existing for how to read that.
Very
So
good.
I think that the time in itself, that the way we're viewing it every day, we're not actually seeing it. It's only a cross-section of a sphere. But
Thanks.
that's just the,
Hey, thanks,
you know,
man.
Yeah.
I hope everybody got that. That was kind of very simply, beautifully explained.
Oh,
It's just,
So, right, so I don't know how I just, it was an
Oh,
insight
that's
when I
great.
looked at the clock, and I haven't really figured it out yet, but
time is,
I don't know if I
time
ever
is,
will.
is what we make it. Like where we are now compared to where we were in Phoenix, Arizona, where every minute counted. Marcia was executive, she was with the Bendix deep space tracking system and very high technical work. She was way at the top of the ladder in the corporate world. And I was involved, I had a locksmith business for 37 years, so I was busy in security work. And every minute would count. But it was time for us to get out of the box, so to speak. And when we did, and thanks to my good friend here, Dixon invited us to come up and see what we could do with this 40 acres up here to turn it into an alternative living situation, if you will. I will show them this. They can pass this around. These are what we're calling hobbit houses. I never showed you these yet. Maybe we can go around now with it. This is what we want to put on the property, these little homes. I know that's a sidetrack from what we're talking about, but when Dixon invited us up here, we're talking about time, when we got up here, we found heaven on earth compared to where we were. Because time out where we're at doesn't exist anymore. When we get up in the morning, and we no longer say, what do we have to do? It's what do we want to do? Just we have all the time in the world. Well, let's go
Or what does, what
mend the
does-
fences, or let's go haul some water
does
from the
life
lake so we
hand
can
us to
flush the
do?
toilets, or whatever it takes. Because we're running low on water right now. But we have plenty of time, and it's beyond the clock. There, you know, the sun comes up and the sun goes down, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's 10 o'clock again already? We have not the concept that we used to carry about time anymore.
The exercise that I've been doing with regard to the clock now is when I look at a clock, I recognize that I'm not really, I see it as the sphere, and the way I'm seeing it, I don't really know what time it is. Honestly, because it could be an infinite number of possibilities using those 3 coordinates, if it is indeed a sphere with a single central point, or a black hole in the middle, or however it works. So that my whole concept now of time has changed just by looking at the clock and realizing that I don't know what I'm seeing, really, if it's truly a sphere.
I'm glad you brought up black holes. Can you tell them a little bit about that, what you're finding out? Could you get him?
Are you talking about a real clock now?
A real clock is,
A
I'm seeing it as a
digital clock or a
cross.
flat
Well,
clock?
a
I
digital
didn't
clock
get a
would be the
chance-
same.
Oh,
Because
So
you
you're
have
imagining
with
the
seconds.
Just
inside of the
briefly-
clock being a sphere, is that what you're saying?
Well, when you look at if you're familiar with mechanical drawings, you're seeing a cross section of a clock. It's a cut in half. You know, are you familiar with mechanical drawings at all? Where you, so you're looking at a
Well, I know what a
sphere.
section is,
You're looking at a sphere cut, sliced in half, and open, so you're looking at it this way.
and it appears flat. Yeah.
But you're seeing it flat.
Looks
But
like
it's
it's in
actually
two-dimensional.
right. But those,
You got here about 7 o'clock.
huh?
You got here about 7 o'clock.
In the time that, right, exactly.
I thought I heard you say.
I was here at
Telling
7.
us.
I see it in a different perspective now. That is, well,
As an added.
it was a profound insight in physics that I saw, and perhaps you can't see it. If that's,
Perhaps I'm not involved in
no, it's not a matter of being involved at all.
that. No.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything to disregard